What's going on? It's early in the morning. As usual, I'm up, doing what I need to do. And I had I don't know whether it was a video I did yesterday or the day before. I had somebody say in the comment section that they weren't African. Now I'm only assuming, I may be totally wrong, that this particular person that said they weren't African, that they are black, and that they're stating that they're not from Africa, that they're from somewhere else. Now, my assumption is this new thing that black people have out, where they basically want to sever ties with Africa and start their inception in the Americas. Now, these particular people, I forgot what they call themselves, AOC or some mess. These particular people are not, when they're talking about the past, they're not going back and talking about the Olmecians, or rather the Olmecs. They're basically talking about that they're descendants of slaves. That's it. And that disturbs me, not because that they choose to want to go with that narrative. It's that you have a particular group of black people that don't want to identify with their real past. Now, I wasn't there. I didn't know this to be factual. I don't know this to be factual. And no one knows this to be factual that was not there when we were kidnapped. That was not there when there were people that were indigenous to this land, when the Caucasian man so-called discovered this land. So the only thing I could go back on or fall back on is my past, right? My past is straight up a connection to Africa. My family originally comes from, the side of my father's side of the family originally comes from the West Indies, small island called Nevis. And I continue to say this all the time because I'm very proud of where I come from. And some people may sit back and say, well, you're not from that place called Nevis, the West Indies, because you weren't born there. And I can sit back and say that I wasn't born there, so therefore, if I wanted to choose that narrative, so therefore I'm not from there, but my descendants are. My ancestors are. And my great-grandfather came here and had my grandfather, matter of fact, my great-aunt was born there, and my grandfather, I think he was either born in Nevis or he was born in New York. I'm not for sure, right? Then my grandfather had my father, and my father had me, right? And my father was born in New York. I was born in New York too, as well. Now check this out. If I were to choose that narrative, right? I'm in the process of getting dual citizenship right now. Once I get dual citizenship, my great aunt will sign over the papers to me in order for me to own the land that my descendants left me, my family left me. But I have to be a citizen of Nevis in order to attain it. The point that I'm making is that I have land in Nevis. And if you people will wake the hell up and reconnect yourself with Africa, you may have land, and the land you may have may be diamonds in that dirt, gold, no telling. So why would you want to continue to be a descendant of a slave, right? Start with that narrative and wait for the white man to give you 40 acres and a mule or reparation, where you can get that reparations of 40 acres and a mule and then some if you reconnect yourself with Africa and possibly find out where you really come from. And that's the point that I'm making to you. And this is the reason why all of that shit about you not being from Africa It's the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life, because they're Europeans, they're Caucasian people, or American people, as we call them, white, that live over here, that were born, that their father's father was born here in America, and they still, originally their families from Europe, and they still claim that they're European. The only people that's not claiming that they're from somewhere is dumbass black people, and I'm sick and tired of it. And I know I said I was done with black people and I wasn't going to talk about black people in this manner anymore, but I had to address that. I've been wanting to address this for years. Yeah, years. Well, black people are claiming that they're not from Africa, that they're descendants of slaves. The same slaves that didn't have shit, but then again, the same slaves that were kidnapped from Africa and brought over here. So you sound stupid. And this is a reality. And once you start claiming that you're from some biblical era and that you were the this and that, you sound even more dumb. Because there's no scientific fact where you could trace back in the Bible of any connection of anything or anyone. There was no tombstone when Jesus died. And I know what you Christians will say. Well, he resurrected. You still gotta have a tombstone. They have a sheet that went over his face, and it's supposed to be the shroud or something like that of Jesus. Man, get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. You know how long the damn sheet had to be on his face in order for there to be an imprint? And to my understanding that Jesus rose from the dead, what, a couple of days afterwards? You know how stupid that narrative sounds? Black people, you better wake the hell up. And this is the reason why I have to disconnect myself from you all. And this is the reason why E.B. Du Bois talked about the talented 10th. Because he wanted to separate himself. And I think originally, the Boule, listen to what I'm saying, originally wanted to form a class of their own because they saw the black race deteriorating. There's no way in the world you're going to tell me that we are descendants of people that built Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Durham, North Carolina. Because there was a Black Wall Street in Durham, North Carolina. Look it up. I lived in Durham, North Carolina, went to high school there. Excuse me. No COVID, no Delta strand. Went to high school there, and my family's there from there. And the years that I lived in Durham, I hated it. I thought it was just the worst place to live in. The reason why I thought that way is because I didn't do the research, I didn't do the homework, the math. But once I stepped out of Durham and lived somewhere else and started to see, God damn, this all this history of black people being independent and having their own. That's when I started appreciating Durham, North Carolina. But there's no way in the world we could be descendants of them. We can't be descendants of people that that built the pyramids, because we steadily saying that we're not from Africa. And it's not just pyramids in Egypt. There are pyramids in Nubia, in Sudan. We had Timbuktu. We had empires. But you don't want to identify yourself with those people. Or what about the Moors? Yeah, they did sell us out later on. But we still have a great history in changing people and evolving people. And you know you know the type of people I'm talking about that we evolved. That still till this day doesn't want to give us our props. And still to this day, I truly believe that they're upset and jealous that we're the ones that had to come in and clean them the fuck up. But you black people going around talking about you not African, which makes no sense to me. Now, if you want to go with the narrative to say that we're not African because the continent wasn't originally named Africa, okay, cool. You know, that's That's debatable. But at least when I say, okay, you're not from Africa. You're from that continent though, right? Correct, I am. Okay, cool, we can run with that. But you going to get up with your heavily melanated ass and tell everybody you're not from Africa and you're descendants of slaves, which most slaves didn't have anything. You're not gonna get anything. These people are going up and they asking for reparations from the white man. You're not gonna get it. You want to know why? Because we will have to break it down and really actually see who actually deserves it. I probably wouldn't be one of them because my ancestors come from the West Indies, and I'm pretty sure my ancestors that came from the West Indies, their ancestors came from Africa, because they stopped in the Caribbeans and dropped black men and women that were kidnapped, not slaves. We were never Slavics. That were kidnapped from Africa and put them in the Caribbean. And they have a history of that in Nevis. And I went to go see it. And I questioned them, because I truly don't believe the narrative of what I just said. White people are not responsible for dropping black people off, and that's how black people got to the Caribbeans and Americas. I truly believe that black people were originally there before white people got there. And it just so happened they enslaved those people as well. But to think that white people are responsible for black people being all over this world is the most dumbest shit I ever heard in my life. To think that white people took millions of black people from Africa. See, if you want to look at it like that, I got you. Millions of people from Africa, black people that is, and populate them all over the planet. It's the most dumbest shit I ever heard in my life. And with that, you're giving the white man the power and the authority over black people. Because basically you're saying black people didn't have a sense of building boats and traveling and being navigators like the Moors were prior to white people getting there. Like, in other words, you stating this: I went to the YMCA and I had to wait for the white man and his bus to come pick me up, as if I didn't have my own car and I couldn't drive to the YMCA myself. So with that, I get it. But still, there has to be a connection. I really, truly believe, yeah, we did populate the earth. We were already here. But I think that our inception, our beginning, our genesis started in Africa. Because we have to have a basis. You understand? Everybody has a headquarters. If I got a problem with McDonald's, that one particular McDonald's off of Wilkerson Boulevard in Charlotte, North Carolina, I don't even know if there's a McDonald's on Wilkerson Boulevard, but let's just say for the sake of the conversation, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna talk. I want to talk to the manager. If the manager don't want to talk to me, I'm gonna call what? Corporate, the main headquarters, and I'm gonna talk to the main man. That's the reason why black people so messed up, because we don't have any headquarters. We don't have the main man that we can talk to. We just don't. Even America bows down to what? Or who? Queen Elizabeth. They have a main headquarters. We don't. And the reason why we don't is because you got all these black people talking about they not from Africa. And they severed off their golden arm, their golden leg, or rather what we call our golden egg, and wonder why we ain't got shit. Everybody is raping Africa, taking from Africa. The real God that everybody praises comes from Africa, and it's an acronym: God, gold, G, O, oil, D, diamonds, That's the real God. And everybody takes from Africa gold, oil, and diamonds. If you want to go on some, originally it was a German term meaning Goma Azdabar, wisdom, strength, and beauty. Well, man, every time I look at Africa, I haven't been yet, but every time I see the videos and the pictures and the documentaries, that's all I see is wisdom, strength, and beauty. But you want to disconnect yourself from that. It's okay. I got you. I tell you what, my African legs, my African arms, my African chest, it's gonna help me get through this workout. My African lungs, my African heart, my African kidneys, liver, it's gonna get me through this workout. It's gonna get me through what you call capitalism. And I pray for the day, even if it's my last day on earth, that I'm able to speak in my original tongue and finally find out where I'm actually from and embrace those people. Got somewhat of a history, and I'm trying to reconnect that by getting dual citizenship and actually being a citizen of Nevis because I rightfully deserve it. That's where my bloodline comes from. And who am I to sever that? I'm sorry, Pops, but I have to say this. My father told me this when I had my first child. I was way past of being an adult. I became a parent. Had I known this when I was younger, then all answers to my questions, all answers to the questions that I had would have been answered. I keep on saying this, and I guess you all think it's a corny thing, and I don't care. But as a young adult, you know, my mom's, you know, I didn't stay with my father. You know, I stayed with him briefly. You understand, like here and there. But for the most part, I stayed with my mom's. So she cooked American food, what you call soul food. Not a lot of pork, you understand? But for the most part, when I became a young adult and I was able to feed myself, you know, I always wondered why I liked a lot of West Indian food. This lady was like, yo, I remember one day I was in one of these drugstores, CVS or something like that. She was like, yo, you from the Caribbean, you know, the islands or whatever? I was like, nah. She's like, you sure? I was like, yeah, I really got upset. You know what I'm saying? Because at that time I had dreads, and I was thinking like maybe people were thinking that I was trying to front like I was Jamaican. Because I always had these funky dreads. They always were different from everybody else's. And I was like, nah, I ain't from no Jamaica or no West Indies or nothing like that. You know, and everybody used to be like, when I was in school, like I look funny. I ain't look like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So I always felt a certain kind of way. You know, my stepmom's is Jamaican. It's crazy. My stepmom's is Jamaican. She used to make this like curry shrimp when I lived with them, and I loved it. That shit was spicy as shit. But I love spicy foods, and it's like when he said that shit, I was like, my father that is, he's like, yeah, you know, your family's from the West Indies. No, you know, idiot. I'm from the West Indies. If my family's from the West Indies, I'm from it. You're not gonna take that from me. And I apologize, Pops, but I gotta put you on blast. I'm not gonna sit here and say, I'm not gonna run with this narrative, the white man this, the white man that. I'm just gonna say everything's been taken from me. Every goddamn thing. I ain't got shit. Don't you understand that, people? We don't got a goddamn thing. And you mean to tell me that I'm from another place? That I ain't no regular ass goddamn slave? Even though the slaves wasn't regular? Even though the slaves, when they came here, they bought the watermelon seeds, they braided it, cornrowed inside their head. They brought the rice over here. They brought okra over here. Stop it with the bullshit. The ancestors are waiting for you to come home. The ancestors are waiting for you to claim your crown, king, to claim your crown, queen. And we taking that shit off and saying we just want to be regular ass niggas. Not me. I'm putting that crown on. Not my family. We're gonna embrace our kingdom and our queendom. And as I come in this gym, as I go in this gym, I'm building myself up for a better tomorrow. I'm out. Later.